She built a fence across my driveway, said it was community property, and when the cops showed up, she still claimed I was trespassing. 10 minutes later, she was in handcuffs screaming about her authority as HOA president. Yeah, that's the day I learned how far some people will go just to prove they're in charge. I moved into Willow Creek about a year ago. It was one of those clean, quiet suburban neighborhoods where every lawn looks like it's been measured with a ruler. After years of renting tiny apartments, owning my first townhouse felt like freedom. A little patch of green, a driveway that was mine, and the sound of sprinklers instead of sirens. I thought I'd finally found peace. But peace has a name here, and that name is Karen. Karen was the self-appointed queen of Willow Creek, also known as the HOA president. Mid-50s burgundy bob haircut so sharp it could cut glass, always wearing this blinding mustard yellow cardigan and holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. She patrolled the neighborhood like a traffic cop for leaves and mailbox paint. You couldn't mow your lawn half an inch too high without her taking pictures and sending reminders. At first I laughed it off. Every community has a Karen right, someone who needs to feel important. But I didn't realize how deep her power trip ran until one Tuesday morning. I woke up to an email titled, "Violation Notice, Unauthorized Use of Driveway." My heart sank. It said I was occupying common property with my car and must move it within 24 hours or face a $500 fine. I reread it 3 times, thinking maybe I misunderstood. My driveway. The one attached to my garage, clearly outlined in the property map when I bought the place. I replied politely, attached the property deed, and explained the mistake. A few hours later, I heard the sound of heels clacking outside my door. And there she was, Karen herself, standing at the edge of my driveway with her clipboard and a smug grin. "Good morning," she chirped, though her tone could slice glass. I came to inspect the violation. I stepped outside trying to keep my cool. "There's no violation. This is private property. My car's parked in my own driveway." She gave me that little pitying smirk people give when they think you're dumb. "Actually, this section right here," she tapped her clipboard, "is considered shared HOA access. You can't block it." I blinked. Shared access to what? It leads directly to my garage. "Well," she said, adjusting her cardigan, "you're new here. I'll let it slide this once, but you'll need to relocate your vehicle by tomorrow." That was my first real taste of her delusion. I told her no calmly, firmly, and went back inside. 10 minutes later, I heard the click of her phone camera. She was taking pictures of my car. I stepped out again, and she said, without even looking up documentation for the record. From that moment, the war began. The next morning, a bright orange warning HOA violation sign was taped to my garage door. $500 fine pending. My neighbors glanced over as they walked their dogs, pretending not to stare. I was furious, but also embarrassed. I'd only lived here 6 months, and now I was that homeowner. I tried reasoning again, sent another email. She responded with a single line: "Rules apply equally to everyone. Non-compliance will result in enforcement." A few days later, she went further. I came home from work and found a set of wooden posts hammered into the edge of my driveway, wrapped in yellow HOA tape that said, "No parking, HOA property." It looked like a construction zone, except it was my home. That night I couldn't sleep. I sat by the window staring at those stupid posts under the streetlight, wondering how someone could just decide my property wasn't mine anymore. For the first time, I felt powerless in my own space. I started second-guessing everything. Had I misread the property line? Could she be right? Maybe I'd bought a house with some kind of easement I didn't understand. The next morning, I brought out my documents again. I checked the survey, the property map, no mistake. The driveway was 100% mine. Still, the fear lingered. What if she really had the HOA behind her? What if they could ruin my credit, fine me into submission? A week later, things escalated. I was leaving for work, coffee in hand, when I saw Karen and 2 men from the HOA standing in front of my house. They had measuring tapes marking the pavement, murmuring to each other like city inspectors. I walked up and asked, "What exactly are you doing?" Karen didn't even glance at me. "We're verifying boundaries. This driveway may extend into the HOA-maintained easement." I felt my blood boil. "You can't just show up and start measuring my property." She finally looked up. "We have every right to ensure compliance. I pulled out my phone. Then I have every right to record this. Her face froze for half a second, then she smiled. Go ahead, dear. It'll look great on our next community report. That was the moment I realized she wasn't going to stop. She wanted to fight. She wanted to win. I contacted the city zoning office, but they told me to resolve it internally with the HOA. Basically, they washed their hands of it. My frustration turned to helplessness. I started thinking maybe I should just sell the house. Move. Leave this nightmare behind. Then one evening something unexpected happened. My elderly neighbor, Mr. Patel, waved me over as I was checking the mail. He leaned in and whispered, "You're not the first one she's bullied, but I have something that might help you." He showed me his security camera footage on his tablet. It clearly showed Karen and her helpers hammering stakes. Past. The HOA boundary line directly onto my driveway. My name was on the deed. It was undeniable proof. For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of hope. I thanked him over and over, promised to handle it carefully. The next morning, as if on cue, Karen was back this time with an actual metal fence panel. She was setting it up across my driveway, blocking my car in. I stepped outside, camera rolling, and said, "You're trespassing, Karen. I have video proof of what you did yesterday. If you don't remove that fence, I'm calling the police." She snorted. "You think the police care about HOA regulations? I am the HOA. I can have this entire driveway condemned if I want." Something in me snapped. "Go ahead. Let's see what happens when they watch this video." Her eyes narrowed. "You wouldn't dare." "Oh, I would." I dialed the non-emergency police line right in front of her. She stood there with her arms crossed, lips tight as I gave them the address. 15 minutes later, a patrol car pulled up. 2 officers stepped out, calm and professional. One of them, Officer Mitchell. A tall woman with her hair in a braid asked, "Ma'am, are you the homeowner?" "Yes," I said. "And she's the HOA president who just blocked my driveway." Karen jumped in before I could finish. "This woman is using common property illegally. I'm enforcing the community bylaws." Mitchell raised an eyebrow. "By building a fence across her driveway, it's HOA jurisdiction," Karen barked. The officer turned to me. "Do you have documentation of ownership?" I handed her a copy of my deed and the footage from Mr. Patel's camera. She watched for maybe 10 seconds before saying, "Yeah, that's enough." She faced Karen. "Ma'am, you're trespassing on private property. You need to remove the barrier immediately." Karen folded her arms tighter. "No. This is harassment. You're taking her side because she's younger." Mitchell's tone stayed calm. "No, ma'am. I'm taking the side of the law." Karen started shouting, "This is a setup. You people are all against me." She turned to the small crowd gathering on the sidewalk. Neighbors had come out with their phones, whispering. You all saw it. She parked illegally for months. One guy called out, "It's her house, Karen." Another woman yelled, "Move the fence, we're late for work." Karen's face went red, then white. The officer gave her one last chance. "Are you going to remove it yourself, or do we need to do it for you?" For a second I thought she might back down, but she didn't. She screamed, "I'm not leaving." That was it. Mitchell sighed, nodded to her partner, and said, "All right. Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing and obstruction." The handcuffs clicked and Karen's jaw dropped. "You can't do this. I'm the HOA president." "You're a citizen," Mitchell replied evenly, "and you broke the law." As they led her to the car, Karen twisted around and hissed, "This is all your fault. I hope you're happy." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The fence was gone, the driveway clear, and the entire block stood silently watching the woman who'd tormented them finally face consequences. Later that day, the HOA board sent out an email saying Karen had been temporarily suspended pending investigation. Within a week, she was officially fined $500 and removed from her position. Word spread fast, especially after someone uploaded the arrest video to the neighborhood Facebook group. The title, HOA President Blocks Driveway, Gets Arrested. It got thousands of views in a single night. People started coming up to me at the mailbox, smiling. "Good job standing up to her." About time someone did. Even Mr. Patel gave me a proud thumbs up. I didn't feel triumphant, though. Mostly I felt relief. Relief that I didn't back down. Relief that I wasn't crazy, that the law was still stronger than one person's ego. Karen moved out about 2 weeks later. Rumor has it she tried to join another HOA in a different town, but the internet never forgets. Someone recognized her from the video, and she resigned before the first meeting. Now every time I pull into my clean open driveway, I still think about that yellow cardigan and the way she used to say I'm the law around here. And I smile because she was wrong. Lesson learned. When someone thinks they are the law sometimes, all it takes is a camera, a calm voice, and the courage to stand your ground to remind them that justice still exists.